Well, hello, welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a long time. I've been very busy. I've been an executor for my stepfather's estate, which has meant I haven't really had any spare time to build videos and go out on expeditions. I did say in the last video, which was an update video back in, I think it was January, that I intended to go to Harrison Lewis in February. I did go to Harrison Lewis, and incredibly good place it was to go to. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it was more a holiday. I took pictures, and I might pop a couple up in this video just to show, but the conditions there were virtually impossible to be able to actually film. The wind was sort of 40 miles an hour. I would have got no audio quality at all, absolutely certain of that. And also standing up was difficult on occasions, and on the few occasions the weather was calm enough to be able to do any filming, I just didn't really feel up to it, if I'm honest. So apologies for that, and for those of you loyal followers that have been following me some time, that's by way of a slight apology. But as you've probably seen from the footage, I'm here in a place called Combe Martin, which is in North Devon, and I've got a few things to talk about. The first of which is, later this evening I intend to go to Porlock Weir, which is about 25 miles east of here on the coast, and I'm going to time it for sunset because, as you can probably see around me, it's perfectly blue skies. Well, I'll point you at the sun and then say blue skies, but basically there's not a cloud anywhere to be seen. And I looked on PhotoPills, which is the app I use on my phone, to see that what I've got tonight is an alignment with the trees. There are a series of dead petrified trees down on the foreshore, well, marshes, at Porlock Weir, between Porlock Weir and Bossingham Beach. And it's quite easy to get to from the road, and at that time of night, which is going to be about 9:20 sunset, I'll get there early and get set up. But I've seen on PhotoPills that actually the sunset is lining up perfectly with the line of effectively dead trees, and I'm hoping for half decent shots there. So I'm going to take the drone down, I'm going to take my time. I've got a new camera, which is the second thing I want to talk to you about, and I'll do that as part of this video. But I'm hoping for good things tonight, so let's see what happens. But as far as camera gear goes, I've got the sun behind me, which isn't ideal. Let's have a look in this new camera bag. When I went to Harrison Lewis, I actually had a Sony a7R5, which I'd had about a month, and I loved it. I had a 70-200 2.8G Master 2 lens. I also had a 12-24G lens and a 24-70G Master 2 lens, which I bought specifically for that trip. I was blown away with them. They were good pieces of kit, but I'm just getting a little bit fed up with carrying so much gear around, and it seems to be quite common now in quite a lot of the videos that are out in the marketplace. A lot of the more sort of highly respected higher follower numbers YouTubers are actually switching to smaller gear or taking less gear with them, simply because the bulk that it all represents can be a bit of a chore. So I'd had one of these, or at least a very similar one to this camera, a couple of years ago, and because I had two camera systems at the same time, I felt it was a little bit sort of much to have two. So I had an Olympus OM1D Mark II, I think it was the last one, back in 2019, and I loved the principle of it, the lens size, the weight and everything that goes with a Micro Four Thirds. But what I've gone and bought myself is this beastie, which is, it's actually OM Systems, but in homage to the original OM1 camera, the non-digital version. This is actually called the OM1. It's not called an OM1 digital, it's just OM1. And with it I've got a 12-100 image stabilized lens, which in full frame terms is 24-200, which is a pretty good range. It's a really sharp lens, and the image stabilization in camera and also in that lens mean I can handhold shots for 2 or 3 seconds without any problem at all. So I'm thinking no tripod. I've got one with me, and I might take it to the beach tonight, or at least to Porlock Weir, but I'm tempted not to and just go completely handheld. As well as that lens, I've also got this one, which is a 40 to 150, which is equivalent 80 to 300, and it's an f4. All of the lenses I've got are f4, and they're the pro lenses, and this is really quite light, but it gives me a good deal of range, so I've got that one. And to go for the wide angle part of it, I've also got this 8 to 25, and the 8 to 25 is with me because 12, the difference between 8 and 12 doesn't sound like a lot, but in terms of angle it's quite significant. So what I've got is that with me. So I've got really a total kit setup of essentially 4 lenses. I haven't mentioned this one. This is the Olympus Systems 100 to 400, and in real terms that's 200 to 800, image stabilized. It's not a pro lens, but it's pretty close to being. It's fully weather sealed, as is all of this gear, and it's about the size of 100 to 400 in full frame format and a similar weight, so that sort of breaks the mold a little bit. But with this I can get tremendous range because I've got a 1.4 and a 2x converter that go on this, so I can actually run out to 1600 millimeters handheld, which is an absolutely amazing thing to be able to do compared to the full frame marketplace. So I'm popping those back in there, and I'm hoping to get, as I mentioned on the intro to this, a nice sunset. The wind's starting to pick up, but the sky is absolutely blue, and sunset is at 9:30, so I'll arrive well before that so I can be in position and get sort of compositions nailed basically. I was there a couple of years ago, the last time I stayed down this way, and I got some quite nice pictures which I'll pop up in the video in a moment, and I'm hoping, having got the lay of the land, as long as the trees haven't fallen over or been cut down in the meantime, that I can make some half decent sunset shots. So that's really what I intend to do. So I'm going to leave you here, and I'll update you on the progress when I get to Porlock Weir. Well, I don't know if you can hear me over the wind noise. I'm right on the top of the hill here at Porlock, which is just above Porlock Weir. And if I spin you round, if I can, over my shoulder, sun in my eyes, you can see in the distance over there the coast of Wales, and over here you can see, hopefully, the coast running off, and that's Minehead in the distance where that sort of hill is over there. And I'm going to go down the hill, well, down Porlock Hill as it turns out, which is a very steep hill, very testing on cars, or it used to be in the olden days. Modern cars don't seem to bat an eyelid at going up and down it, even though it's a 1 in 3, 1 in 4, something like that. So I'm going to go down to the beach, and I'll meet up with you when we get to where the trees are. I've got to go and get some fuel because we've got to go home tomorrow, so I'm just going to drive into Minehead, which will take 10 minutes. It's only about 6 miles further on. There'll be a garage there, and then we'll go down to the beach and we can see what we can make of this, what's going to be, I think, a stunning sunset. Although there's not a cloud in the sky, but we'll see. Join me in a minute. Well, here we are. I've actually reached the location of the trees. Well, it's pretty parched here. Normally when I've been here before, it's been a lot of standing water about the place, but there's none today. It's really, I don't know if that's a function of the weather or just the tide's been out a long time. It's not really reached here as a high tide. But yeah, let me spin you around. Let me show you what these trees actually look like, if I can. There we go. So basically we've got these old, not even sure what sort of tree they were when they were alive, but they've clearly died quite a long time ago, and we've got these series of interesting skeletons almost, which if I walk you over you can see better. Yes, quite startling and striking trees in this environment. This was absolutely flooded when I was here last time. I wouldn't be walking where I am now, but hey ho. And now what I need to do yes, as I was saying, what I need to do now is try and work out a decent composition and wait for the sun, which is probably about 45 minutes from going below the horizon. So I'm walking in areas that previously were just wet. I couldn't have walked here, which is good because it's giving me the opportunity to get to different places. But yeah, the low sun's lighting these trees up rather nicely from this side anyway. I'll show you what I'm looking at. You see the golden glow of the sun as it's going lower, lighting up the branches of these trees. And I'm actually just slightly off the coastal pathway that runs all around the west coast of southwest, that is, of England. It's quite spectacular, I must say. I'm looking forward to this. As I say, I've got this new Olympus camera. It does have a little less dynamic range than my Sony did, but I'm hoping that won't be a limiting factor. So, I found what's remaining of one of the streams, pretty much dried out. Yeah, let me show you. This was all water up to here. You can see, in fact, that's actually wet. So that's been wet recently. Yeah, it's quite soft. Okay, let me get set up and I'll talk you through what I'm doing when I'm ready for that. Well, it's looking promising. There's a nice sort of orangey glow starting to happen in the sky and over in the distance. I'm looking carefully past the tree just to see how high the sun is. It's probably only about 2 or 3 degrees above the horizon. It's a bit too bright to include in the frame at the moment because I've taken a few test shots which I might put up just to show you what it's looking like at the moment. But as it gets weaker, gets more diffuse, as it actually drops down through more and more layers of atmosphere, then hopefully it'll dim significantly and I can get the shot that I'm wanting. So bear with me. I think we're about maybe 15, 18, 20 minutes, something like that, away from it hitting the horizon. So let's see what happens. What I'm doing is I'm waiting for the sun to dip down, and I think it'll dip down from where it is now to just on the horizon by this edge, right edge of this tree here, if you can see where I'm pointing. And I've got this second tree in the frame, and I'm hoping to tie the two together. I'm taking great care to make sure that these lower bits of shrub remaining tree here don't interfere with the branches on this tree, and this one doesn't overlap that one. So that's my plan. So as I say, that's the plan for this shot. There isn't a cloud in the sky, so there's not going to be a lot of colour, but there will be a sort of a belt of Venus type effect, I'm hoping, probably behind me, but we might get a nice sort of hazy sun just dipping down. It's not perfect conditions, it's really quite clear, but I'll make the most of it. I'm sure we'll come away with something. My idea is I'll either get the tree and the sun, just the sun peeking through it, and try to get a sun star just before it goes below the horizon, or as it's going below the horizon, just to get the top half of the sun as it's losing the light. So I'll have to wait. That's going to be about 45 minutes away, so I'll just patiently wait here and have a look around, see if there's anything else, and let's see what. Well, while we wait for the sun to get to the point that I hope it gets to, let me explain my thinking behind this shot, or at least the shot I'm hoping to get. I'll spin you around and show you the tree. Right, first of all, I don't want the branches going into the distant hill line there. I want there to be separation, so I've got nice separation there. I don't want any of the branches this side dipping into the horizon or dipping into and interfering with the tree that's here, which is in the frame, and also these very broken down pieces of tree here. So the general idea is that just move the camera down a bit further, and this wide angle on this DJI Pocket isn't wide enough really to show what my camera at 8mm is showing, but I don't want any branches. The trunk of the tree can cross the horizon, but that's the only thing I want to cross the horizon line. And the sun's getting nice and orange. You see it in the distance. If I just come past the tree, it's probably blinding everybody, but it's really turning quite nice and orange. And when I wind and do an HDR set a -5 EV, a -3 and -1, -0, plus and minus 0, a 3 and a 5 the other side, I've got all the shots I want to be able to blend those into an HDR image, and we should have a nice silhouette of this old tree here and beautiful blue sky blending into orange in the background. I think that's going to look really nice. Yes, as I was saying, I'm hoping that's going to look really nice. A nice simple image of a silhouetted tree against a really nice sky, and everything else hopefully will be silhouetted as well, and that's the sort of image I'm looking for. So press on, time waits for no man, and that's now starting to be a lot dimmer. The sun, as it's dropping down, it's coming at a slant angle through more and more atmosphere, so its light level is dropping quite nicely, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed here that that's going to actually be what I get when it disappears over the horizon. Something that isn't too bright, it's going to spoil the rest of the picture. So 10-15 minutes we should be there. Well, the sun is just starting to go onto the horizon now, and it looks really spectacular. I haven't got a tripod, so I can't talk you through the shot because I had to hand hold it. So let me spin you around and show you what it looks like, or at least what the image that I've just taken looks like. It might not show up on the camera because I don't think the dynamic range of this DJI is really good enough, but I think you can see there's a nice sun there sitting on the horizon, or at least slightly above it, and the tree is fully in shadow. So if that has worked, as I hope it is, or has done, I'll put it up and you can have a look at what the results are of the shots I've taken here tonight. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Apologies again for the gap in transmission, as it were. I should be producing some more videos in the near future, so stay watching, stay tuned, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you like the video. Thanks very much. See you for now.